Johnson, and I'm the Director of Community of Champions. As most of you know, Community of Champions is an advocacy program that's funded through the Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities, and it's powered through Friendship Community Care. We have a mission to turn every Arkansan into an advocate for individuals with developmental disabilities. We strive to educate, inspire, and empower peer advocates, self-advocates, and state leaders to really understand the importance behind advocacy and how it brings our communities closer together, growing our state to its maximum potential. But we understand, to be a strong advocate, you must have strong resources. So we want to bring you the resources that you need to nourish your mind and be a vital champion. So buckle up, because it's time for Food for Thought Friday. Hey everyone, welcome back to Food for Thought Friday. I'm so excited that you're here. We have Kerri Michael with us today from Disability Rights Arkansas.
Hi.
How are you, Kerri?
Great. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
I am going to get you up on the screen. Don't worry. There we go.
There I am. Hi.
I'm so glad that you are here with us today. Everyone, Kerri is from Disability Rights Arkansas, and today we are going to be covering all things DRA. We are really excited you're here. We have had some guests from Disability Rights Arkansas. We've had Christian Adcock with us talking about all things voting. We are going to have Darren with us talking about SAN, but today you're really going to break everything down for us. And so we've had some people write in and tell us that they're really excited that you're going to be here. And I think that you're going to really be able to help us create vital champions, just a lot of information and tools that they're going to be able to use to really use advocacy in their daily lives. And
fantastic.
If I'm not mistaken, you have been with Disability Rights Arkansas for about a year now. Is that right?
Just celebrated my 1-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
From home.
Well, I'm glad that we could do this with you to celebrate. So happy
Me
anniversary.
Too. Can't think of anybody I'd rather celebrate with.
That's right. Just us, Community of Champions. So you've had a lot of experience in your position. Before you became the Communications and Outreach Director with DRA, you were actually with Arkansas Advocate for Children and Families, if I'm not mistaken?
No, that's right. I was their development director, and then before that, I worked as their outreach director.
Wonderful. So you are really this person that we want to talk to when we want to dig down deep into an organization. Will you just break down a day in the life for you at the office so we can understand a little bit more about what you do?
Sure. What I do specifically, or what the organization does?
Just you first.
Oh, okay. Well, as the communications director, I am in charge of making sure that our external communications are happening. So that is just a fancy term that means I do the website and I make sure that the social media posts happen. We're on Facebook and Twitter. I'll be happy to give you that information later. We have a monthly radio show on KABF 88.3 FM. And I helped coordinate that, and I do media relations, press relations, and all those kinds of things. So a typical, that's a lot of stuff, and sometimes it depends on kind of what's in the news and what we need to respond to and what's going on. So a typical day can sometimes elude me a little bit, but definitely every day I check our social media, see what all of you are saying, check our messages, make sure that people know where they can call for help if they need it, or find different pieces of information. I make sure the information on our website is up to date. All that kind of stuff I'm responsible for.
You are making sure that DRA's message is getting out to the communities.
Exactly. It's my job to make sure that everybody understands not only what it is that we do and why we do it, but I think, a huge part of my job and a really important part of my personal commitment to the work is making sure that people understand just how broad the work is that happens up here, people may not realize they've had different exposure with us and it's been limited. So they may know, for example, that we have attorneys on staff, but they may not know all the other things that we've got going on here. And so it's my job to make sure that the public and our policymakers and all those people know what it is that we do, um, to help people with disabilities live the lives to which they aspire.
That's exactly why we invited you here today, and we're so proud to have you on the show. We know that a lot of people are proud to have disability rights working for Arkansas and to just grow Arkansas to its maximum potential for individuals with disabilities. We are so proud for that, and we know other people are too, but we feel like they don't understand the depths of Disability Rights Arkansas. So we really want to ask you if you will break down the mission of the organization and let us know what the vision is, what they are working for every day.
Absolutely, I'd be glad to. The mission of our organization is really concise. It's to vigorously advocate for and enforce the legal rights of people with disabilities. So we are what's known as a protection and advocacy organization. If people are unfamiliar with that term, it's P&A, it's called for short. And every state and U.S. territory has a P&A.
Mm-hmm.
They're mandated by Congress. We are not a governmental organization. We're an independent nonprofit, but we receive federal funding to enforce and defend the civil and legal rights of people with disabilities. So a P&A provides, as the name would suggest, it provides protection and advocacy. Now, on the protection side, that's really how the P&As started. Congress started these organizations or enacted the enabling legislation back in the early 70s. And our initial mission was to ensure that people with disabilities were protected from abuse, neglect, and exploitation specifically. And we still have that mandate today. We have, and I'll get into kind of what that looks like when we start talking a bit more about the services that we provide. But that's where our mission started. But as the needs started to grow, and as people with disabilities started, in this movement started to be very, very vocal about what was going on, and the needs started to change, and so our focus expanded beyond abuse, neglect, and exploitation and started moving into all kinds of areas related to employment and education, for example, or voting rights. We work a lot with you all on ensuring that people with disabilities understand and that they have the right to vote and are able to exercise that right. So, it has become broader over time. But our vision has remained the same. We envision an Arkansas where people with disabilities are equal members in the community and that they can dictate the course of their own lives through their own self-determination. It's really important for me to let you all know and to let your viewers know that our services, which we'll discuss, are client-directed. People with disabilities get very used to having things done on your behalf. And what I want to let you know is that, that we don't take action that isn't directed and desired by the people we serve. Because it's your life and you're the expert on your life. So, we are here to facilitate your self-determination and full participation in the life of the community.
Those are all things that I want to dig down deep into. I want to really see what that looks like for Disability Rights Arkansas. That way our viewers can understand more about that. I think a lot of people think that when you get into the disability rights movement, you have to be someone with a disability, or you have to be a parent, or you have to kind of be grandfathered in that sense. But that's not always the case. You can choose to be an advocate because you want to stand on the right side of history, or you want to bring forth positive change because you know it's the right thing to do. So I think that we really need to dig down deep into those topics because we need to make sure that that information's out there for the people that don't know yet. or they don't have, they
Absolutely.
haven't had the opportunity to learn yet from experience that they've had or they've seen someone else have. Before we do that, though, I really want to dig into those services because of this mission and the way that you said that it's expanded. I know that you guys have to have a large staff that's busy, and I really want to see everything that you cover, and I want to make sure that our viewers understand that.
Sure. So to do that, there's a couple of layers to it. I will share kind of the services that we provide, the actions that we help you take or that we help facilitate. But then if I know, we talked a little bit about how we prioritize what cases we take. So I don't want to get ahead of you, but but I would be happy to share that process when it's
Yes.
time to do that.
No,
So
yes.
if it, when it's time to do that, let me know, because I very much want the time right now. I want to understand how we do that. Okay, so first kind of the services that we offer. Our services really kind of fall into three main objectives: protecting your rights, advancing equity and inclusion, and advocating for change, like big C change, systems change, community change, social change. So in terms of what we do to help you protect your rights, we do offer legal representation. It's probably the thing that people most immediately think about when they think about Disability Rights Arkansas. We provide direct advocacy. Some of your viewers may have had experience with that. We monitor facilities. So as part of our congressional mandate, we have a very specific and broad type of what's referred to as access authority to monitor facilities. And it means that we are able to enter a facility without being invited. We can show up, take a look around. We have access to files. We have access to residents without other staff present. Sometimes people, prefer not to have a bunch of staff listening so that they can really share their thoughts and perceptions and kind of their experience of how things are going. And so we have to be able to do that. And our access authority is in the U.S.
Before we move on,
Sure.
the information that is shared, is that captured anonymously, or does that get back to these facilities? So can our viewers know that that is safe and there's not going to be any retaliation?
I'm really glad you brought that up. It is confidential. So, so the access authority is in place to ensure that we create a safe container for that information. And we take that charge really, really seriously. It was the charge that we were first charged with. And we take it extremely seriously. So, and I want everybody to know that when we go in there, our aim is to ensure that everyone there is safe and receiving the services that they were promised to receive, right? The services that the facility puts forward as offering. And so, the reason that we do this is to ensure that that's happening. So when residents and families of residents share information with us, our ultimate goal is to, we do take great care to protect the information that we're privy to, but we are also working to create change for everyone in that facility. So typically what we'll do is we'll go back and try to work, if an issue is revealed, if it comes to light that there are some issues that need to be addressed, we will attempt through advocacy to work with the administration of those facilities to see that those changes are made. So we don't right away start with going in there and, suing everybody. And, we really are going in there in the spirit of collaboration to make sure that, but our unquestionably, our client is the person with disabilities who is directly impacted by that organization. So we take that really, really seriously. I hope that answered your question.
It did, very much so, and I hope
sufficiently good.
I hope that that was useful to our viewers too. We want to make sure that they know that this information that they are sharing, um, they feel comfortable doing so because they're not going to be retaliated against. So that's the reason why I had to stop you right there, because I wanted
Yes.
to make sure that when they're hearing this, they know that it's going to be useful to them.
Yes. Well, and it's true of anybody who calls here asking for assistance. You know, like we take that seriously. We honor people's confidentiality. Um, you know, we have lawyers and other people who are trained in human services who know that, you know, that confidentiality, if confidentiality can't happen, then there can be no trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have
Yeah.
Miss Janie right here. We're going to show her comments. She said, I love the spirit of collaboration and not gotcha moment. Thanks.
Oh,
So
good. Thank you.
that
Well,
was
we're all one community, and you know, we're collaborating to make it the community that it needs to be. You know, and I think people think, you know, well, you've got attorneys, and litigation is adversarial. You know, there's sides, but we try and do everything that we can do with advocacy and bringing people to the table to solve problems together.
you're right. We really are better together, and we need to remember that when trying to grow.
I think that's true. So that's monitoring facilities. You know, that's a really big topic and a little bitty,
Little
and
nutshell.
I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has about that. We do a lot of civil rights education and outreach. You know, you and I have had this conversation before. Like, people really need to understand what their rights are, and that gets very complicated because, you know, sometimes people may have heard stuff or been treated in such a way that suggests to them that they don't have a right um, to certain things that they actually do have a right to. And so we do a lot of really basic civil rights education um, with the community, and particularly with people with disabilities, to make sure that people understand, listen, you have certain rights no matter where you're living, no matter what is going on with you, no matter the nature of your disability, um, that you have rights, that you have certain rights because you are a human and you are, you know, living on this earth and in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make sure that you are aware of that, and understand that you have a right to work to ensure that those rights are respected.
Mm-hmm.
You have a right to that.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like that this is something that has to be reminded when you go into facilities, or are they working on this every day to remind individuals with disabilities that their rights are not stripped from them when they are not living on their own?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time. And it's not just in facilities. I mean, lots of people, for example, are under various kinds of guardianships, or they have different kind of arrangements, different places. And so the way I try to explain it to people is there is a difference between rights and rules. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like a facility or a organization or a set of services can have rules, it can have guidelines, it can have policies, but it cannot confer onto you nor take away your rights.
Very much so. So I think that that's something that we can highlight right now as champions for others with individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. This is something that we need to remember that we can work on and we can stand up for, is reminding others that have not yet joined or pledged to be champions. We can remind them of this, that everyone still has their rights because they have never been taken away, or they shouldn't have ever felt like they were.
Well, people, you know, yeah, people try all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
People do, people do get, but we're, you know, and we're here not to let them. Right.
Exactly. We need to take that stand and make sure that they know that they're not,
Right.
they're not taken away, and we have to put them back in place. So,
which I guess gets, you know, kind of over when we start talking about sort of systemic and policy change. And then the last point I want to make sure that we know about, and I know your folks know about it a lot, is voting rights education and advocacy. That is major, and this is an election year, and so you're going to see a lot of us, whether you want to or not, hammering home when the deadlines are and how to absentee vote, and you know, stuff relating to guardianship and how that all works. And so, yeah, we're going to be in your face all year. All year. So that's just protecting your rights. Then advancing equity and inclusion. I mentioned before, all of our services are person-centered. They are focused on what you need, what you want, how you want to live your life, and it's our job to collaborate with you to bring that to fruition.
So let me interrupt you one more time. I'm so sorry. Just because I want to stop us right here on this topic. I know DRA spends a lot of time on person-centered services. Break down for me and our viewers, what does person-centered look like? What does that mean?
Sure. It means that that all the action that we take is directed by you. So like you are the person who is calling, right? So like, let's say that you are seeking services from us, you call us with a particular issue. It means that we are going to leave the power to act on that issue in your hands. We're going to help work with you to make sure that you have as much information about the issue at hand that we can possibly provide to you, that you understand everything that's going on, and that ultimately the decision power of action is yours and not ours. I think, a lot of people really fear, well, if I call an agency like this, will the power to make decisions be taken away from me? And so, it's really important to us to let people understand that our whole reason for being here is to make sure that your rights are respected and you're able to live the life you want to live. So we always turn back to what are your goals and what are your objectives and what it is that you want to have happen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for breaking that down to us. For us, I think that it's important that we know exactly what that looks like. That way, no matter if we're at Disability Rights Arkansas seeking services or anywhere else, we will know what it looks like to have that person-centered service.
Yeah, I think people just need to know that you are the one directing your own self-determination, and we're just good, solid backup. Wonderful. With lawyers, like that kind of backup. And who doesn't sometimes need that kind of backup?
Exactly.
And we also, you mentioned Darren before, and Darren does incredible work, and all he does is work with educating self-advocates and providing resources and support to y'all. So those of you out there who are self-advocates, Darren is doing incredible work, talking to people about their rights, and not only that, but letting them know that there are things that you can do. You don't need us to do everything. There are things that you can do on your own to ensure that you're living your life the way you want to live it, and that and you're asserting, your rights, you're asserting your rights, and when your rights are being respected and when they aren't, and how to speak up.
Exactly. Yes, he does do amazing work. We're so proud to know that he is our brother nonprofit. So we are so proud to be doing work beside him.
Darren pretty much rocks.
He does. He really does.
He pretty much rocks.
There's really no other way to describe him. So in the work,
you don't need me other way.
We want to ask you about that policy makers and agencies and organizations, and really how you hold them accountable. What does that look like? And what are the standards that you're wanting them to meet and rise to?
We want everybody to rise to, we want everybody to rise to our vision. I mean, we want everybody to get on board with people with disabilities having equal standing in the community and being seen as, having self-determination and being deserving of respect and being able to live life on their own terms. So I see in your chat, yeah, Darren totally right. And so, a big part of holding policymakers accountable is, I think, has to start again with education. Like, we have to, a big part of what we do is make sure that the people who are making decisions because they're going to make the decisions with or without us. The people who are elected and, or people who are in administrative policy at our state agencies and stuff have decisions to make, and they're going to make them with or without you. So why not make them with us and make sure that they're armed with the information that they need to make good decisions, or to, or to let advocates and really teach self-advocates and families of people with disabilities just how much political power they actually have, and just how much power they have on the administrative side to share their experience and share the information that they have, because you all are the ones who are in the best position to know what impact these policies are having on your daily lives. And I think that's really important for people to remember, is that our policymakers come from all different kinds of backgrounds. They might be teachers, or they might be like retired police officers, or they might be farmers, or they might be, business owners. But what they are probably not is experts on the wide range of issues that you all know way more about than they do. So they're relying on us. And so I think a big part of accountability has to start with sharing information, and again, being collaborative with them, assuming that they have the best of intentions and that they will make the best possible decisions if they have the information that they need to do that.
You're right. We really need to go in, and where Community of Champions stands and what we view is, if we know better, we can do better. But we have to share that information and those experiences.
I think we just assume that our elected officials just know stuff, and they know some stuff, but they don't know all of the things. Right. And so, we just like to approach that work with the assumption that we have valuable information, and, and because we are so tied in with all of you, you all are really the ones, you are the ones that educate us. And, and many of our staff either are people with disabilities, or have a family member or loved one, or parents of someone with a disability. So lots of us do have lived experience. Mm-hmm. But we can't assume that of our policymakers, and we can't assume that they know what we know. So we really do try and go in a spirit of collaboration and helpfulness to help them make the decisions that will best benefit us. That's another reason elections are so important too. Like, find out what your candidates believe about, and find out what they know and don't know, and help educate your candidates, because somebody's getting elected. Right. So education doesn't have to wait until somebody's actually sitting in the chair, right? We have that responsibility, and it's our right as American citizens to be involved in that process.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And I think the foundation of all of this is bringing it back around to those rights and making sure that those aren't being trampled on.
It all goes back to that. And just like, we ourselves don't always know what rights we have. And I think that's true of anybody. Like, we don't always know. Right. And our legislators don't always know what rights we have. Mm-hmm. And so, we have to make sure that they're operating from that place.
We have a question for you.
Okay.
And it's from Mr. Tanner Maxwell. So let's pull it up on the screen.
Hey, Tanner.
How can disability rights help with getting someone registered to vote?
I'm grateful for the question. Thank you. We have a whole bunch of resources on our website that can help folks find out where they can register to vote. You can do it, you can look at the Secretary of State's website and get, a lot of that information. We have linked to that from our website. We also have copies here. So if you can't get one, and you need us to send you one, believe me, we have tons. We take them to all of our outreach events. We want to make sure you can get registered to vote. But I want you to, and I don't see where I can put it in the chat, but maybe one of y'all can. But if you go to our website at disabilityrightsar.org/voting-rights, then you'll have all the resources that we have to tell you where you can register, how to register, who's eligible to register. and all kinds of information from, forms and links to videos about the voting process. So, we want to make sure that everybody is ready to go to the polls and they're armed with the information they need.
We will put all of that in our comment section so everyone can have all of that information. And
Great.
We will also link the video from Christian Adcock. And he explained everything we need to know about voting. And we are going to have an upcoming video from Susan Inman for Arkansas Voters, and she's going to break down the absentee ballot. So she's actually going to be showing us exactly how to fill it out, exactly when to sign up, register for it, when to send it back in, just really break that down for us. Tanner is very, very passionate about voting. He's very passionate about other self-advocates voting. So thank you so much for that question, Tanner. And thank you, Kerri, for being ready and armed to answer it. We appreciate you.
We're ready to go, but it's y'all help us a lot, and Tanner is out there talking to anybody who'll sit still about voting, and we really appreciate it. It makes our job so much easier.
We want to ask, and this is sent in prior to this video starting, and it's about school districts. We know that disability rights helps parents when it comes to their school-age children, whether it's with issues with 504s or IEPs, when they feel like it's time or necessary to take legal services or legal actions because of the services that their children are receiving. When it's time to do that, does Disability Rights Arkansas, do they provide an advocate to go to these meetings with the parents, whether it's an IEP meeting? How can a parent or a guardian actually request an advocate?
Thank you so much for that question, because that is a huge part of what we do, and we do have advocates and attorneys who focus pretty heavily on making sure that every child in the state from K through 12 has access to free and appropriate education. So to get that process started, you would need to call our intake hotline. You leave a message, but she checks them several times a day. So I don't want to make it sound like, and we have a whole bank of people with 15 people over here that are answering your calls. No, we have an intake advocate. So if you call our phone number at 800-482-1174, and if someone can throw that into the chat for me, that is the number, and not just for this particular service, but for all of our services. If you've got something going on and you need our help, to call that number, and that's really kind of the way in with us. And like I said, don't be discouraged if you have to leave a voicemail, because you likely will, but they're checked several times a day and they're answered in the order that they're received in. So somebody really is actively checking those. And so, yeah, that's the number. But I will tell you too, if you're interested in the subject of special education, and sorry, to go back to the original question that was posed by your viewer, like yes, that's something we can do. We have people that know all about the kind of different entry points for different types of hearings and procedures to make sure that your child has an IEP, to make sure that that IEP is respected by the district and that it's being abided by. I don't know about that sentence structure, but you get the idea. We can help you with that. So please do call us, 800-482-1174. If this is a topic that is of interest to you, I mentioned at the top of the program that we do a radio show every month on KABF, and our week is coming up. So we will air a program that we've already pre-recorded on special education and kind of the implications around COVID-19 and how people are doing and what is important for parents to know. And that is going to air this Wednesday. If you are local to Little Rock, or if you're in the Central Arkansas region, or you can pick up 88.3. Otherwise, you can stream it online when it airs Wednesday at 5 p.m. If you miss it, we're going to post it on our website. We basically have a podcast where we post everything up on the website. So if you miss it on Wednesday night, no worries, you can still catch it. when we post it to our website at disabilityrightsar.org.
Wonderful. We have a question just about this topic. And if legal services are needed, is it costly for the parents or the individuals to obtain it?
We provide our services free of charge.
Wonderful. I think
that's a really easy question. Thank you for that softball. We will not bill you. No.
We have so much fun here on Food for Thought Friday.
We do have fun. But to more thoroughly answer, like we are very grateful to have grant funding that enables us to provide our services. And so, no, if you need help from us, we will. There is no charge for that.
Okay. I think that's really important for these parents and these guardians to understand when seeking legal services throughout the state. And you guys cover the entire state of Arkansas, from Jasper to West Memphis to Charleston, just all over in the entire state. So you are not—
and all points in between.
Yes. So not in Little Rock. You guys will travel. You will go. You will handle what needs to be handled throughout the state and throughout all communities.
Yes, if you're in Arkansas, call us if you need us.
Wonderful. Kerri, let us know where to find you guys and this information that you're sharing. We want to stay up to date with what's going on with, Disability Rights Arkansas and everything.
Good, yeah. Great, yes, we want you to stay in touch. So I mentioned our website a couple times. I'm going to mention it again. It's disabilityrightsar.org. So you can visit us there, and we've got a wealth of information. Pretty much everything I've shared with you today you can find on the website. We are also on Facebook, Disability Rights AR, so do follow us on Facebook. We provide quite a bit of information, and we share things. So if you like when you all have events coming up, we like to share them and that kind of stuff. So so please do keep in touch with us that way, and you can follow us on Twitter at DR Arkansas.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you being here today. I think that it's important for individuals that are trying to be champions and use advocacy in their daily life to have the tools to be able to do so. Advocacy can be really intimidating. You can have someone come up to you and explain to you why you need to be an advocate, and you can decide to make that change if you haven't already, and then you can be lost. How do you do that? But if someone can give you the tools and someone can give you the resources, it's so much easier to be able to do that. And it's so much easier to be able to be a powerful advocate if you have those at, just at the palm of your hand. And so that's what we want to be able to bring to the table. We want to bring those resources to everyone so they can be a strong and powerful advocate for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities or themselves.
Couldn't have said it better.
Thank you so much for being here with us. We are going to share all of that information in our comments section, so everyone will be able to have it. It'll be easily accessed to everyone. We appreciate everyone for being here with us today. Your questions were awesome. If you have any more, can they leave those in the comment section and we just shoot them over to you through email?
You bet.
Wonderful. Like we said, everyone, thank you so much for being here with us today on a Food for Thought Friday. We want you to use these tools to be a vital champion, really push Arkansas in the direction that you want it to go, make it inclusive for everyone, grow your communities closer together. We didn't just learn about Disability Rights Arkansas today. We learned what we could do to make it better for everyone. So we are going to leave all the information that you need in the comment section. We're also going to put a survey in the comment section. So fill that out. Let us know if you enjoyed this, if you want more resources like this, because we want to make sure that we're bringing you the tools that you want and that you're going to use. We hope that you have a good day, and we'll see you next week on Food for Thought Friday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Of course. Thanks.